Well, speaking of Zelda, our next question comes from Steve from Long Island.
Lots of New Yorkers today. I like it.
And he knows we're all excited for Zelda, but he would like to perform a thought experiment.
Ooh.
Let him explain. He says, my question this week has to deal with Zelda Breath of the Wild. Taking a step back from the hype and looking at what has been shown of the game, I wonder if this didn't have the Zelda name attached to it, would people still be gushing over it? Has it really shown us anything revolutionary or game-changing? For a Zelda game, it sure has, but in the grand scheme of things, is it really that awe-inspiring?
Yeah, I think he's completely onto something. I mean, well, there's two issues at play here. One is that the last Zelda game wasn't that great. It's Skyward Sword, right? It's got its issues. It's got its pacing problems. The controls obviously being a big problem, which is fixed now around. But if you look at the fact that this is doing a bunch of brand new stuff for Zelda, it's really, really cool because it's the first time Zelda's done this, and I think Zelda was getting a little stale and a little formulaic. But if you look at this game compared to, I mean, I don't know, like I'm playing Nioh right now, and I played Bloodborne a couple years ago. Like, I mean, I feel like they took elements of Zelda and brought them into this bigger world with like Souls-inspired combat and stuff like that. You look at stuff like Skyrim, every open world game now does so much more than I think Breath of the Wild will be doing. But what it's doing as a Zelda game is phenomenal. So it's sort of got this handicap going for itself.
Yeah, I would agree. I would actually liken it to Resident Evil 7.
Yeah.
That I don't think is doing a lot new for horror, but it's new for Resident Evil, and it works really well. And it's great and it's super fun. Enjoying it.
I think what you're missing out here is that these are the best game developers on earth.
Yeah.
Nintendo, like, that's what's exciting to me about it, is that this team is the team I trust with any game more than anything. And they make Zelda games, and that's what I have faith in. Like, just the fact that it is a genre game, an open world game, action game, whatever. What matters is not that it has the Zelda name on it, but it has this development team behind it.
Yeah, and
invented by Shigeru Miyamoto.
Yeah. It's not even just
anything more.
Like, I feel like there's so many, like, yeah, if you play The Witcher, like, that is a stunning, gorgeous open world game with so much to do. It's almost, it feels impossible.
Yeah.
But when I look at Zelda, like, for me, it is the art style. Like, it is that, like, it's gorgeous. And like that painterly style, I really, really find compelling in a way that even something like Rhyme, that's more of like a Wind Waker thing, this just pulls me in even more than that.
Yeah.
And I think it's doing... The question we don't know yet is just how populated that world is. Because right now we see a lot of it being kind of empty. Like that E3 area, like you could, like there are enemies around and there's stuff to do and little encampments, but there's not really like that many points of interest as compared to like if you zoom way out in the map of like Fallout or The Witcher, Far Cry. So like that's the question mark for me. And that for all open world games is what keeps me going in a sandbox. Like I need 1,000 things to do in any second to really stay immersed in that game for months and months, because otherwise I'm going to get pulled away by 30 other things.
Well, I think there's way better games with better crafting systems and way better like hunting and way better like minute to minute gameplay almost, but no one is going to do puzzles the way Zelda does.
Yeah.
No one, like dungeons, temples, the way like the music swells when you get the Master Sword. There are moments in Zelda that no one else can touch, and they try. Every couple of years, there's this like Zelda-like game. Even The Witcher had moments where it's kind of like, oh, this feels kind of like a Zelda game. But they never reach those heights. So
there is something unique about this game that isn't like any other open world game, in that it does have a sandbox that's manipulatable by physics and fire, and bow and arrows, and just like very tactile ways that. So every single inch of it is like, you know, set up so you can roll a boulder down it and crush stuff. I like that feeling of it. You don't just go around and kind of RPG it. You interact with it, and hopefully like things like that will be really delightful to discover.
I'm also just really hoping 50 hours into this game, we're going to be like, oh my God, I had no idea this was it. Like, I mean, there was like, they're in the cover Game Informer this month. And the first sentence I read of that article was about their stables, and you stop in certain places of the world to like rest your horse. And it's like almost like an inn in an RPG. It never even occurred to me that was a thing, you know? And I'm just hoping there are more weird surprises like towns and other characters and more voice acting and just little surprising moments that will make it feel much more robust than what we've even seen.
Well, like that moment in Ocarina of Time. You beat Jabu Jabu. You're like, I got the 3 crystals. This is going to be great. I'm going to go to the Temple of Time. And then you grow big and you're like, okay, maybe there's going to be like a cool ending to this game. And then that's when the game starts.
Yeah.
Like there's no better feeling than that in the Upside Down Castle.
Yep.
And Zelda like totally does that often. The second quest in the first game. I love doubling the game size. It's one of my favorite things ever. That's why I'm liking Gravity Rush a lot. when I'm into the game. Otherwise, I'm like, oh, more game.
Yep.
Yeah.
Zelda's really good at this. And
Yeah.
I think they're trying to show us that little plateau, so we have so much more to discover.
I
Yeah.
really hope they do a second quest in this game.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
cool.
I mean, it's funny, like you talk about Zelda
It'll be
like
DLC.
games. For me, Darksiders 2 was that game where I was like fairly into it, but then you get to a point where it like opens up way more than you thought it would, and I was like, I don't want to do this. Like,
Yeah.
I don't want to invest another like 50 hours into this. And I think Zelda, other than maybe Skyward Sword, hasn't given me that like negative feeling of that. Skyward Sword totally did. Like I'm just
Yeah, I remember people getting fatigued at Skyward Sword.
once he started revisiting places is when I got
Or
fatigued
the
on
third
Skyward
time you
Sword.
fight that whale boss.
Yeah.